All right, episode 2 of Old Fashioned Marketing. I'm very excited for episode 2 because this is all about my personal diatribe and how I would like marketing to return to owning the 4 Ps of marketing. That's the name of them, 4 Ps of marketing. Not 4 Ps of business or of sales. No, the 4 Ps of marketing should return to marketing. So I don't think you agree with me. So I think this is like a special old-fashioned marketing. This is an old-fashioned marketing debate.
Yes.
Don't you think? That's why I wore my camo.
I think it's like 1 P though, like all the other P, like 1 P, right? It's not even that.
Well, let's go over all of the Ps.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I don't think a lot of marketers, because going back to episode 1, what we talked about, I don't think a lot of marketers even know the 4 Ps of marketing.
Oh, I think they know.
Really?
The 4
You
Ps.
think so?
I think so. Yes.
I don't.
If you went to school.
Let's do a poll. We should do a poll.
Okay.
Of how many people before they watch this video, don't lie. We'll catch you because we can track everything apparently.
Sure.
Of how many people knew what the old school
old fashioned 4 Ps of marketing. Okay, so I went to school for marketing, and I learned the 4 Ps of marketing in school, which is what I think happens a lot. Yeah. So the 4 Ps of marketing are product, placement, price, and promotion. And I think modern marketing departments are only in charge of one of those Ps, which is promotion.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, they do not own product. They have no say
on price.
Barely any marketing department owns price. And then placement, I get a lot of questions about what I think placement means for
not ad placement, just FYI.
Right. yeah.
Like Google or Microsoft? Which one are we talking about here? Bing? Do you Bing? No.
Well, and like the placement thing, I get a lot of questions about because where the 4 Ps come from is, and I know you did your research before this, so I don't want to steal your thunder. Where did the 4 Ps come from, Raja? Who made them up?
In 1950, the 4 Ps of marketing were first established. Now, there have been 3 Ps added since that time, which I don't agree with the 3 additional Ps that have been added.
I don't like those. I'm happy with just the 4.
The reason behind it was marketing was able to adapt to changes as we marketed things, right? As we saw what our competitors were doing, as we saw what our customers were doing, we were able to adapt, make the change on the fly. In the modern day world, mind you, it's kind of like an email, but in the olden 1950s world, people would change the price of it. They're like, hey, our people aren't buying this product as fast as our competitors' products. Let's drop that by, a nickel or something or whatever it was. And then they would move on with it because they'd be able to directly change based off on data that they were collecting in real time.
Yeah. Okay, so considering that this was created in the 1950s, or like literally 1950.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's 1950s.
Yeah, so people were buying physical products in physical stores, which is why placement in the classic 4P is, where is it? Is it on an end cap? Is it in the middle of an aisle? How do you get better placement for your good or service within the store? And or even something like how something is sold would be a classic form of placement. So a vacuum cleaner salesman going door to door, that is actually like part of how vacuum cleaners were placed with the buyer in order to get them to actually buy their shit.
And you know who to this day does that amount of placement very well? One company does it very well.
One company? I don't know.
I mean one company in that whole productized version.
Sure.
Fucking Costco, man. Like, you ever been to Costco? Like, they change stuff around based off on seasons, trends, what people are buying, what people aren't buying.
I've actually never been to a Costco.
You've never been to a Costco? It's like a marketing haven. They still have people sitting there, like, chopping stuff. They're like, look at my knife. Look how cool it cuts. Cut.
Nice.
Yeah, like, the Vitamix blender people, they're always the ones, like, you can make a smoothie right now. Watch this. And then they give you samples and stuff. I'm just saying, like, they do it still, mind you, like, it's in a warehouse and it's not like out on the street anywhere or wherever that people used to do it in the 1950s.
Sure.
But they change up the location. They make you walk the entire aisles because everything is not in the same place, right?
Yeah.
So, but then what you're talking about, Costco, if you haven't been to Costco, go to Costco, I guess. But they do a very, very good job.
Well, and so when you think about in a modern environment where people are buying things online, people ask me like, what does placement mean? Yeah. And to me, placement is the idea of like anything that talks about where you're going to distribute your product. So if you have an item that is sold through resellers, as an example, that would be placement of your product through that reseller. So like a ton of companies do this with technologies, right? Like a company that's huge here in Phoenix is Insight, and their whole business is basically a placement business, right? Dell contracts with them to get their products in front of huge call centers that are going to be buying 1,000 computers to staff their department or to staff their company, their organization, right? So like companies like that are one way that you can distribute your product, therefore it's placement. And so like to me, the idea of like, where does partnerships within an organization or alliances, some companies call it, where does that fit? Like to me, that is a classic placement situation. Like how do you partner with organizations? And another example of this would be us and technology partners, right? So we can help you implement and optimize a system like Salesforce or a system like Marketo. And they partner with us because we will bring them business and they will bring us business. Right. So that is a way that we are both working on our placement component of the 4 Ps, and I think marketing should own that.
But how does that work so Insight's product, once again, is a delivered product, right? They partner with them, but how does it work then would you say in like the cloud consulting space, like the cloud products that doesn't have anything? So when we talk about placement, we talk about the 4 Ps, right? I agree with the 4 Ps, but I feel like there has to be a little bit of a change on how the digital world accommodates for it.
I mean, I think it's one of those questions of like, you can change the name of placement or you can just like recontextualize how you think about it. I choose the latter, right? Like I would just keep placement, and like in a SaaS company, how you place your product is like, fundamentally it's how you sell it. So there are SaaS products that get sold through resellers, right? Mm-hmm. There are SaaS products that get sold direct. I would even say like PLG to some degree is a placement strategy. So if you are a product-led growth organization and you want to it's a combination of both product and placement, right? So like we want to make our product easy to use in a freemium way, like a free way. Users can sign up, they get to do whatever they want in our product, and then we're going to have a strategy that says this feature is hidden behind a paywall. You can just go and execute on that yourself. We're going to do that via e-commerce. E-commerce is like a placement way that you're creating the ability to transact with the organization, or you're saying, no, you're gonna have to go through a sales process because someone has to scope out what you're gonna need and blah, 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 or you're gonna have to go through one of our partners and they're actually the only people that can resell this in the way that we want. Like that whole concept to me is the way that I think about placement in like a modern SaaS organization. Yeah. So, and then I know you got a problem. Don't act like you're all for this, because I know you have a problem with price. I know you do.
Yes,
I know you don't think we should be in charge of price.
We'll get to that one.
Like when?
I mean, like there's like
what are you waiting for?
There's like 2 other Ps we have to cover before.
Okay, well, we can talk about the one that we just definitely agree on, which is promotion, which is the only one that we're allowed to do right now. Anyways, right?
Which we agree on that as well.
Yeah, like so. But I just think it's such a short-sighted. Because even just in your description of the way that things used to work in the 50s, right? Like marketing should be the closest to the market, and therefore we should be in charge and at the helm of all of these decisions about how we sell our product to our customer. We should understand the customer better than anyone else in the organization, and therefore we should be able to dictate like, here are changes that the product should need in order to meet buyers where they're at. This is what they're willing to pay for that feature. This is how we're going to sell it to them. And boop, also, this is the promotion of it. Like this is the email that I'm going to send to suggest that they go and that they increase their what is it called? Their license with us or whatever. Like all the way, that entire thing to me is just the ecosystem of marketing, and like to take marketers out of the helm and say like, okay, product, you go decide what people want, like what features we're going to do. Okay, like is product the closest to a buyer? Maybe in some organizations they are, but I don't think they should be. I think fundamentally marketers should know the buyers the best, and therefore the product, and therefore price it correctly, and therefore promote it correctly, and all of those things.
I disagree with half of what you said.
Oh my God, go ahead.
No, I feel like marketing should, mind you, in a perfect world scenario.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
if Andrea ran the world, this is what would
correct.
happen.
Marketing should be responsible for it. However, the reason I don't think modern day marketers, and I hate using the term modern day marketers just in general, modern day insert any fucking goddamn title, is because they're not close enough to understand the pricing scenario. Because once again, we've been so heavily, I want to say, siloed from a promotion perspective. That idea of what the 4 Ps of marketing means in today's world is such an offshot that they wouldn't even be able to know where to begin with pricing. I
have a lot more confidence in marketers. This is the thing. I think people think that marketers
in certain scenarios
are stupid.
Yes. No.
But it's just because they've been sequestered to this one little thing. Like if we fought to be like, no, we are going to talk to customers. And of course there are tons of marketing departments that we've had as clients before and whatever, and they never talk to a customer. They have no idea what their actual customers are wanting. And
I think that change is the reason they put in the additional 3 Ps. I'm dead serious. They took away all of the 4 Ps and said, you know what, marketing, you just need to worry about promoting this shit.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's it. Don't worry about the product. I don't care if it's on a one leg running down the street. We're going to go and market it like a motorcycle.
Okay.
With NOS.
I was wondering where the analogy was going.
Yeah, because you're running with a leg on a motorcycle. Yeah. But I just need you to handle the promotion. We'll worry if the product works or not. You just tell people it works, okay?
Yeah.
You just do that.
Yeah.
And then they added the 3 Ps, which is the people, the packages, and the process. Which packages doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Again, it's very physical product. I mean, you could.
But that was not in the 1950s though. The 3 Ps were added in the early stage. I want to say somewhere in the 2000s is my best guess. So it's when they added the 3 additional Ps, it was to compensate for the fact of what you're saying is that traditional marketing or old-fashioned marketing, to stay on brand, obviously, was removed from those other 3 Ps in the picture. So that's why when you talk about people, packages, and process, what does marketing operations talk about the most? Process efficiencies. That's why it was fucking added, right? So, and that's why I say it's very hard in the modern day world. She controls pricing at G&W. If she said, hey, this price sucks, I'm like, cool, why not? She's a marketer at first, she might have the title. Same thing with everyone else, right? But however, we're so far removed from that idea and concept to try to reincorporate it into the current world, the way that it sits, I think it's just very tough because most marketers, when we went to college, which we're dinosaurs at this point, they talked about the 4 Ps of marketing.
Yeah.
Now it's very tech focused. People talk about AI, how AI incorporates into everything. Yeah. They don't talk about brand building. They talk about what technology is being used and stuff like that. So I think the idea is just very difficult to come back to. By the way, these 4 Ps that we as traditional marketers talked about and we marketed towards and these are the reasons why, it's just very difficult.
Yeah, I do think though, even when I just look at my friends, because I have a lot of friends who are CMOs, and a lot of them are fighting for ownership of the classic 4 Ps, and it really does typically start with product. Because I do think that asking a CMO to come in when you have a chief product officer who's just doing whatever they think is right, and asking a CMO just strategize how we're going to sell this. I can't, because the decisions that you're making in product are terrible. And it is very, very common for CMOs, especially of SaaS companies, to disagree heavily with the roadmap of the product. And I really think that there's no reason that a competent CMO who has nailed everything about promotion can't learn a product, because again, we should be the closest to our buyers and we should understand the jobs to be done that our buyers have, that our product solutions for, and then how to position those, how to structure them in the product, whether they, again, are something that a buyer can just click a button and upgrade their package and buy, or they have to go through a sales process or whatever that looks like. We should really be at the helm of dictating that. And exactly to your point, if it should cost an extra nickel, again, we should be the ones that understand the psychology of the buyer and the value of that additional feature that we've created in order to make that happen and own that element of the line item on the budget. Profitability should be something that we are really impacting. Lifetime value of a customer should be something we own and impact. And so I really think that it's not common, but I see a trend where the best marketers that I know are saying, like, I want to be in charge of those things.
Yeah, but like how many are those? Like how many people are there?
I mean, like, listen, I don't know everyone in the world, but I would say,
and this is where
really like 25% probably of like my good friends that are CMOs are like aggressively taking over product.
And I think I think that's awesome, first of all, right? If the pendulum has gone to the point where that is where we're at and is about to swing back from a trend perspective, then so be it.
Yeah.
However,
now my friends are amazing.
No,
of course.
I'm one of your friends. I'm one of your friends. I got a guy. You know, I got a guy. But the biggest problem I had when we started doing the marketing ops stuff in 2011, and just working with different companies and working across the way, is no CMO thought that way. Because, and that, I think, when you talk about the pendulum swinging across one avenue of these things, right? And I think that's what let it swing. So yes, the CMOs that you know and that I know that are wanting to own all of these things and go back to the traditional settings, they've seen what's happened, and they're trying to push it back. But really, the fault is on the CMOs prior to that didn't focus on those things as well.
Yeah,
so that's why
I don't disagree.
That's why I say it's very difficult to say, let's get back to the 4 Ps of marketing, because you have a CFO involved, you have a CPO involved, product officer, you have a CEO involved, you have CRO, like the revenue operations, like, you know, the whole RevOps thing was just designed to fill the gap, which the traditional CMO should have been able to do just in the first place anyway.
Yeah, well, I do think that's, I mean, that is part of the job of CMO though too, is like,
we didn't push back enough. I'll say this, like CMOs, I think went to a point where they said you're in charge of promotion, and you know, as a marketer, I was just like, they were like, yeah, fuck it, yeah, we'll do this thing. We'll throw it up on the Googles and the Facebooks and the Twitters and the X's and stuff.
I think there's like a lot going on, because I think first of all, marketing is one of those disciplines. Finance doesn't really change that much. Right? Yeah. Marketing is one of those disciplines where
sales across the board doesn't change that much.
No, you know, so like I do think that marketing is very unique in the way that we have had to learn so many new things as it relates to promotion. Like digital the internet has truly quadrupled, maybe 10x.
I mean, more than
how much we had to do. So I think that's what ended up happening, is we were just like, oh, fuck, I have to figure out how to SEO. Okay, like now that has to be my job. And also I have to learn how to run ads and do influencer marketing now. And like
and
all
what is
of these
new
things.
Technology? This is attribution?
So I think that
there are components
that
to
it got just like, we had to do so much more that we were like, well, something's got to give. Like, I guess we can't also own product. And that's one of the things too that I hear people say a lot, and especially like sales leaders will tell me that marketing can't possibly take all of these things on. And my question is like, how come the CEO can then? Yeah. Like, what makes a CEO?
Or the salesperson. I mean, there's been plenty of organization where somehow, some form, some way, a CEO or someone at the top tier of executives or a board or whatever it is has put the pricing conversation and given that ability to a salesperson.
Totally.
You know they're going to undercut. I mean, let's just be real, right? If I was a salesperson and I was measured on sales, I'd be like, oh, they want a discount, do it. Yeah. And, oh, they want to do it. Charge that, no. Reduce a nickel. Yeah. In fact, give them 5 free months. Like, what? No, like obviously the sale, and that has happened more so than giving it back to marketing.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that is crazy to me, and that's why I said like people give marketers such shit, or like just think that they can't do things that like all we have to do is change the perspective. All we have to do, but like really, it's fighting to say that we can do something, and then a few great marketers standing up and doing an awesome job and going on SaaS, like going to SaaStr and talking about what they've done, talking about all of that, all of the decisions they made in pricing and how they fought to have it under them and the impact that it's had on customers and growth and all those things. Like, you can tell the story of it, but people just have to be sort of bold enough to say, like, I should own this. There's no reason I can't and I shouldn't. Because again, like, CEOs are in charge of a bunch of very diverse functions. They're in charge of accounting, and they're in charge of sales, and they're in charge of HR, and they're like, if you don't think it's impossible for a CEO to be in charge of all of these major functions, why is it so crazy to think that a CMO can be in charge of a fraction of them? Yeah. I think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, and just like as a level set from technology from like 2010 to 2025, marketing, MarTech has boomed in technology. And realistically, if you think about any other part of a company, what is the technology that sales has increased? I can get your phone number and email address.
Right.
I can send
and
you
spam you.
Yeah, I can send you emails through an AI robot, and we'll call that outreach or something like that. We'll call it, like, what is the level of technology? Like, you have a auto dialer. Instead of manually dialing, you are just going to, like, that is the level of change from a sales perspective.
Yeah.
But if you look at marketing, think about every single product that has come and has gone, including ABM software, right? Any product.
Tens of thousands of technologies. I mean, it's
millions
insane.
of them.
Yeah.
And not only did we have to adapt to it, we had to learn it. And then once we learned it, we're like, oh, this thing sucks, all right? Now we have to Now we have to evaluate. Yeah, now we have to find something new. But we also have to make justifications. No one guesses and no one double checks why we need a product or a software that has people's phone numbers and emails. Why? Because the fundamental idea behind sales is pick up the phone and call, email them, potentially maybe if you're really aggressive, text them. I wouldn't recommend it, mind you, at all. But that's it. Like, what else does sales really do?
Yeah.
Meetings, demos, all of that are, through product companies.
I mean, they had to start messaging people on LinkedIn, I guess, and social media. But that's
also automated as well.
It's very
Once again, it's all a part of, think about the bulk of the tech boom when it comes to product and marketing, right? It's all marketing. Like, there's very seldom. Like, what did HR get? Bamboo HR? No offense, but like, you know what I mean? Like, to make like onboard.
They got like resume automated readers.
Yeah.
Which
a lot of people would argue is a bad thing.
I would agree. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a cacophony.
It's not a word.
I think it is.
It's not a fucking word.
I'm pretty sure it's a word.
You combine confetti with like another word. Right? That's not a.
I don't think so.
Like, convey. You combine confetti with our PR company.
Listen, I'm pretty sure it's a word.
Yeah.
And
check it. We'll run a poll.
It's a whole bunch of shit that came into marketing in the past couple of decades that has influenced what we do and do not control. My call to arms, though, for CMOs or marketing leaders that want to be CMOs eventually is like, let's take back the 4 Ps. I don't care about the 7 Ps. Like, you can't get away without doing some process, and you need people to run your shit and package like
what the fuck is that?
I don't
even?
care.
Like, do you even have packages?
But like, so the 3 other Ps I don't really care about. I'm not very passionate about them. But the 4 Ps, especially price and product, I think marketing should get back in there, take it over.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I convinced you. This is exciting.
I've never said that I didn't agree with you. I would just say it's a very difficult conversation to have. It's very difficult to train CMOs who have been dominantly worried about website refreshes and CTA buttons for the course of 10, 11 fucking years.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, the #1 changing title. Like, how many CMOs get cycled out into another CMO position?
It's like every 2 years. We
right?
Get. Yeah, so because we're only doing promotion.
Correct.
We don't add any strategic value doing just promotion. And that's actually a great point. Like, that is part of the reason that I think this is so critical, is like, how much you charge for your product is like where you can have a true strategic impact on the business. And like you would never fire the person in charge of your pricing strategy that has helped lead to like 2x growth for your company year over year. You just wouldn't. It would never happen. It would be immediately obvious what value that person holds to the organization. And so it's just like, that's another reason that I'm so worked up about this is like, I do think that part of our turnover problem as CMOs is absolutely because we have been relegated to just promotion and fighting that every single decision we make for every small little tactic of how we're promoting this business leads to revenue. Like all of that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest beef on this entire topic is why CIOs and CTOs are so involved in marketing software. I cannot fathom the amount of times a piece of marketing software that could benefit an organization has been turned down due to whatever technical requirements that it did not meet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the first person to kind of be let go or churned or whatever it is a CMO. So if you're not giving marketing the tools that they need, like, and you're saying that you can't control these 4 Ps, but at the same time, a technical officer or IT controls the products that marketing needs, that they need in order for you to hit your numbers, that's okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's like a maze that doesn't go anywhere.
There's so many companies that we worked with at GNW, prior in our historic life, where IT has literally fundamentally shut down something that could have been beneficial to an organization and to the marketing team to make them more efficient at, guess what? Fucking revenue, right?
Yeah.
You know who's a cost center? Looking at you, IT. Right?
Shots fired.
You bring in $0 of revenue per year.
Yeah.
$0 of revenue.
Shots fired. All right.
Saying.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I've gotten a lot off my chest in this episode. I'm feeling great.
I like it.
I'm feeling great. So I think that in the next episode, I liked this feeling so much of telling everyone what's wrong and what should happen instead, that I think for the next episode, we're going to talk about another decision that marketing teams should be making, which is breaking up with their big agency.
Yes.
And going with some little guys.
And mind you, that's not, what's the term? That's not based. Is it based? Did I use that right? It's not biased. I'm just going to say biased. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was trying to be Gen Z at that point, but no. Yes.
It didn't work.
It did not work.
No, but it's okay. But yeah, it's not biased at all that you should work with smaller agencies and break up with your big agency. But I'm passionate about that topic as well. So should we go on to episode 3?
Episode 3.
See you there. Cheers. Cheers.